This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Or one Bitcoin. So you tell me which is better. Good to see everybody. I'm looking at the comments here. So far we haven't had a glitch. The Matrix is being kind to us for now. So, 15-year mortgage rate, 6.17. Okay, the only glitch we're having is me leaving my volume up. Sorry, guys. So, we got 6.17% for a 15-year rate. So, it's still not very good, is it? It's just not where you want to be. Now, there are some, and again, I'll plug him all day long. He gives me nothing in return. But I'll do it because his information can be valuable to you. The Economic Ninja is talking about a fall time period, autumn, right? Because it's going to fall, the market's going to fall. So in his opinion, based on his experience, he's not a financial advisor either, thankfully. You got to go to a lot of school and listen to a lot of lies if you want to be an official 401k type financial advisor, okay? I'm none of that. So let me start out on some of the crypto news first before we get into geopolitical nonsense, if you will. So, Bitcoin exchange goes bankrupt. This is from the street, okay? Okay, we're good. We're good. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for moderating for me. So the street says that big crypto exchange goes bankrupt. If you're anything in crypto, you know anything about it, you've traded or whatever, you probably heard of Bittrex, okay? So if you haven't, it's a fairly large exchange. And what is an exchange? It's where you go up, usually with your Bitcoin, and supposedly it was going to work where you could go up with a credit card, but the usual suspects cut that off at the knees right away. So you're not going to go up there. Don't think you're going to go up to an exchange with a credit card or a debit card for fiat currency, trade it for crypto, and then get another crypto. It doesn't work that way. They've made sure to cut that avenue off. That ease of access is just not there by intent of the Western central bankers. By the way, have you ever gotten the impression that the Bitcoin Otter doesn't like Western central bankers? Then it is right. You've got the great impression, and I've articulated it correctly. Again, I'm not talking about your corner banker, the guy that you shake hands with, gives you a loan for your business or whatever. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm talking about the people that own the Federal Reserve. That same Federal Reserve that is not federal. Yes, that same Federal Reserve that is privately owned, and nobody knows how much money they make because, well, they can just create it. And they've never been audited. Isn't that great? Anyway, big crypto exchange goes bankrupt. Cryptocurrency exchange Bittrex filed for bankruptcy on May 8th, becoming the second largest platform for buying and selling coins to fail after FTX amid a legal fight with a powerful regulator. Okay, again, I'm going to have to translate here, and I'm willing to do so, and I'm happy to do so. All right, we got a couple thumbs up. Thanks, Brian. Thanks. We're being watched, and you guys include stuff you want to hear about. So I'm ready, willing, and able to discuss what it is you'd like to discuss. So along lines of this currency exchange thing, they're using FTX for everything, right? What they want us to believe is that FTX went down because of cryptos. FTX did not go down because of cryptos. Sure, it was part of their scheme. It was part of their scam. But it wasn't the main thing. It was the fiat currency component of that scam that imploded. Yeah, sure, they stole a lot of crypto, but they stole a lot of money. They stole a lot of fiat crypto or fiat money too. So let's not forget that. Let's not let them get away with, omitting facts that are germane. The Germans got nothing to do with this. If you're old, you might get that one. It's from Smokey and the Bandit. Anyway, and then legal fight with a powerful regulator. Of course, that's the SEC, the corrupt to the core SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, that want to outlaw cryptos as fast as they can because, well, they're free and they're the competition. Hey, Charles, how you doing, Chuck? Good to see you. We're just talking about some, for now anyway, we got a few other subjects we want to touch on, but for now we're talking about the Bittrex exchange that collapsed, So a lot of times they'd rather talk about this than a bank that's collapsing, and there's plenty of those. There's a full gamut of those. CoinDesk, another cryptocurrency news outlet, the White House's Bitcoin mining tax undermines itself. I like how they do that. Yeah. The mining tax undermines itself. So, the current regime has decided that they want to tax Bitcoin mining because it's bad for the environment. You see, to them anyway, they have been convinced that the more electricity that is used, the more carbon dioxide enters into the atmosphere. We learned back when school actually taught you things that carbon dioxide is actually plant food. Who'd have thunk it? Who would have thought about that? Who would have even imagined that plants need carbon dioxide? You never would have got that from these activists, these greenies, the Marxist leftist greenies. You would never know that CO2 is essential for life. And then if you look at real scientists doing real science, you'll find that, well, it's been a lot warmer for a long time. Eons ago than it is now. But they don't want you to know that. I do, but they don't. Yes, Dan, FTX was washing money, right? And I'm sure they were laundering crypto, right? They were laundering fiat also. So this is what I like to tell people when they, propose to debate about how Bitcoin is corrupt. And can it be used for corrupt ends? Of course. Of course. Okay? You could have literally a hammer on the table, and it can be used for nails to construct a building. Or it can be used to whack somebody in the head and deconstruct their life. It's not the hammer. It's the person. It's the heart, the intent, the will of a human being that directs inanimate objects. It's not the object itself. But the people of our time want us to think otherwise. They want us to think things like guns are dangerous. Well, yeah, in the hands of a wrong person, they sure are. But in the hands of a patriot, they defend against bad things. So, the Bitcoin tax, the Bitcoin mining tax to be precise. This is from CoinDesk, and this is just a little bit of their article here. In its bid to marginalize the domestic crypto industry, meaning get rid of it, the White House has unleashed financial regulators, deputized the bank sector, and generally harassed crypto firms here. The tax sets an extremely dangerous precedent as it singles out an industry that lawfully purchases electricity, holding the electricity buyers responsible for the carbon emissions of the underlying generation. Are you getting this? Let me draw a parallel. It's like punishing, let's say, SUV buyers. You're going to punish an SUV buyer because they hit somebody on the road. And then you're going to punish maybe even the company that made the SUV. Okay? So how do you punish people who invest in something? Like in the SUV thing, if you invest in GM and you had a Tahoe hit somebody, you're going to take a hit for somebody that hit somebody with a GM. No, that's not right. They want to do this with guns too, of course. This is nothing new. So when it comes to electricity, legally purchased by the people who are mining Bitcoin, right? So it's like somebody who runs a laundromat. Oh, all that electricity in the laundromat, shouldn't they be taxed on a higher rate because they're using electricity, which in their, twisted minds creates CO2 emissions? Well, they don't want to think about that because laundromats don't challenge the banking system. Bitcoin does. And thank God for that. So, here's another addendum to that story. Very interesting. And take a guess in your mind. How much do you think Bitcoin mining uses, percentage-wise? I'll throw this out to Joe. Or if anybody wants to come up on here, okay? Yeah, time to build a windmill, says Dan. Build a windmill to power the mining. Awesome, Dan. See, now somebody's using their head, right? Now, if you're in El Salvador, you know that you can actually use and figure out how to hook up volcanic vapors to a turbine and mine Bitcoin. They're doing it in El Salvador. But yeah, windmills would work. They certainly would. But I want you to guess, and I'll come back to this in a minute. How much of a percentage of the electricity used in the United States, percentage-wise, give me a number in percent, is used for Bitcoin mining? Joe, what do you think? How many percentage points do you think Bitcoin mining takes up in the whole scheme of electricity usage?
Maybe 0.0000 something.
Okay, that's a pretty good guess. As good as anybody else's, right? So we'll come back to that. The guess. We'll call that the guess. So moving on. This is we're going into politics now. This is the Gateway Pundit. Okay. Now they do get a little bit. Just refreshing myself here. They do get a little bit, let's just say, hyperbole is not unknown to them. So they do exaggerate. But they do also print things that no one else will print. So this was interesting last night. I didn't watch it myself. Hi, May. How you doing? Okay, so Dan Bauer comes in at 0.00005. All right, Dan. Thanks. 0.00005. You know what? We'll keep it open for a little while longer. How many points you think, Jaime? We're having a little guess session here. We're trying to figure out how much people think is the whole 100% of electricity usage in the United States. We'll go for a year. How much of that percentage is taken up by Bitcoin mining? That's what our guess is for right now. So the Gateway Pundit says that last night, and let me preface this. Let me set this up here. Apparently, there was a town hall type broadcast on CNN of all places last night. And who was the star? Nobody less than President Donald Trump was the star of this CNN town hall that was supposed to go like 75 minutes. I mean, there's many different reasons I believe they did this, but 75 minutes of Donald Trump was just too much for them. And how do I know? Because they cut it early, and that's what this is about. Yeah. So the title of this Gateway Pundit article is Mercy Rule. CNN abruptly cut Trump town hall short by 20 minutes. So you're wondering, what do they mean by mercy rule? So have you ever played like softball? If one team is clobbering the other team and they're winning by, 20 runs or whatever, they invoke the mercy rule and they say, okay, there's a forfeit because, well, we don't want to see this anymore. So, yeah, Rossetti says it was the best. Dan said it was glorious. A CNN dumpster fire. Yes, it was. It was. So they had this woman. I mean, she was a very attractive woman. Don't get me wrong. The things that coming out of her mouth were pretty, how would you say, inane. But she looked nice for the camera. But her role there was not as certainly not as a journalist. Supposedly, she was in the position of an MC, Master of Ceremonies, something of the nature of a host. But she wasn't that either. What she came off as and what she actually served the role as, like all CNN people do, is a political hack, an activist, how would you say, an opponent of anything that came out of President Trump's mouth that sounded sane, that sounded logical. She would have to throw dirt upon it and sully the very thing. So, the live event at St. Anselm College in New Hampshire was scheduled to run from 8 p.m. Eastern till 9:30 p.m. However, right before 9:10, Collins abruptly ended the town hall. So there was probably somebody in her ear saying, "Lady, cut it off. Stop. Now. You're out of here." My translation of all that. So, she was, from the video that I saw, she was just hammering Trump on things that she thought were true because she doesn't really know any better. She lives in a world of lies. So this Collins woman who lives in a world of lies only knows lies. And what happened was she was trying to use lies to speak to logic, which Donald Trump quite literally brought the receipts, if you will. He had documents in his hand, pulled them out of his suit, all that kind of stuff. He was ready with them. He had everything right there with him, and he was basically showing it off. And she couldn't refute it. She tried. I would suggest you watch it, right? I don't want to make our show that whole thing, right? We won't do that. So Rossetti says you can't find it in any search engine for CNN. Wow. So where I got it was Twitter. So Twitter's a fire with this stuff, if you want to see the video. Here's another thing. Jean, I think the French version, Jean. They want me to call her Jean. I'm not Frog. I'm not going to call her Jean. To me, she's just Jean Carroll. May sue Trump again. Again, she wants to sue him. Why this time? Her quote, after vile comments during CNN town hall. There's another thing. You can hear Trump comment about this person there. So, yeah, Dan says nasty, nasty woman. So, yeah, she does seem to be a little nasty. Anyway, she says, I'm upset on the behalf of young men in America, Ms. Carroll said. They cannot listen to this balderdash and this old-timey view of women, which is a caveman view. Oh, yeah. After I just said I wouldn't use that, ladies and gents, this woman, okay, who's claiming that Trump raped her in a dressing room, okay? And Trump comes back and says, she's not my type. Never seen the woman before. But of course, they always believe the woman who claims things about Trump. They're not going to believe, of course, was it Linda Tripp, the woman that accused Clinton, and then the ones now that's Tara Reid that is accusing Biden. Those women don't get an ounce of press time, but this one, this E. Jean Carroll, she's getting her fill. Her 15 minutes is way over. So she calls it balderdash. And this old-timey view of women. What is the new-timey view of women, Gene? Do they have penises? Can I say penis? Is that what the new men and women are like? Do men have no penis and women have penis? Is that the new-timey view? Because the old-timey view of men is that they're men. Okay? We're not cavemen. We're men. Anyway, she is news in and of herself, and not of the good kind. Rosselli says, hanky-panky in a closet. Yes, hanky-panky, all right. You better believe it. And it never happened. It's just like that woman that came on against Kavanaugh in those things, the hearings, right? Where Kavanaugh was going to be the next Supreme Court justice, and this wild woman comes on with her hair, and so she testifies under oath about something that she can't quite remember, but knows that Kavanaugh was there. But what no one ever really mentioned publicly was that she had written a book or a paper, co-written a paper a couple years earlier that posited a thesis. It was a thesis paper, literally, apparently. And it basically stated the case for how a hypnotized individual could so successfully believe what they were conditioned to believe that they could passively and plausibly perform these lying things under oath in front of a grand jury or whatever it was. So she had written a paper of how someone could be hypnotized as she, in my opinion, lied under oath about, in this case, it was Kavanaugh. So these people come out from under rocks as soon as, the communist agenda is in some way or form threatened. But you've got Tara Reid out there that, for all we know, was legitimately raped, molested by that person, the resident. She doesn't get any airplay. So we're not surprised at this, are we? Renee, good to see you, Renee. So this one here, and I want to tell you, we can say a lot of things, especially coming up, and I'll be touching on this in a little bit. There's a guy out there, some of you may know him. His name's Secretary Mayorkas. Yes, we can say a lot about him. I won't, for reasons of my own. But what I will say is that he corrected somebody on something that desperately needed correcting. So the title is, and this is again from Gateway Pundit, shocker, Secretary Mayorkas corrects hack reporter April Ryan over false claim Border Patrol agents whipped Haitian migrants. This April Ryan character is still going forward, just like that Collins woman. They know their lies. But here's what people don't understand. In the Marxist ranks, you are graded upon how many times you can reiterate a lie, and with conviction, like Jackie Treehorn says. Right? Feelings. You have to have conviction when you lie, and you will move up in the Marxist ranks. That is a fact. That is how it is done. And this hack reporter, April Ryan, I'm sure does it very well. So she carried to this hearing, or this press thing, the lie that Border Patrol agents whipped Haitian migrants. They did not whip them. They were not whips, they were reins from a horse. They were not contacting anyone other than the horse. And even then, the horse wasn't contacted based on the technique they were using to distract the horse from one direction to get the horse to go in another. Very simple, but it doesn't sell. So they won't tell you the truth. They'll continue on in lies. So when you wonder how these people can do this, you may leave out of the equation the component of them making their bones in the business. If you tell the truth in the media, you will not have a career. You will not have success. You will not be promoted. You must lie, and with feelings, like Jackie Treehorn said. They do it for clickbait revenue. You're right, Dan. They do. Because there's so many people out there that know the truth. And then there's others, those people that watch TV. They don't know what's the truth is. All they know is whatever the person on TV says, which is, of course, a lie. So we got to give the guy at least that prop. He corrected her. Zero Hedge. Top 10 moments from Trump's CNN town hall. I'm not going to go in all 10, but the first one, of course, is what he said, a rigged election. Oh, YouTube. Again, I got to reiterate my oath. YouTube, I will never tell the truth about the 2020 election. This is Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, talking about a rigged election. It wasn't the Otter. I did not say the election was rigged. Contrary to all evidence that says so, I am not saying that. Please don't X this video like you did our other one, okay? Because we are not saying that the 2020 election was rigged. Donald Trump, President Donald Trump said that. I didn't say that. No matter how truthful it might be, I did not say that. And I am not, do not ever accuse me of purveying truth, YouTube. Okay? I don't want you to get this idea that all of a sudden I'm going to start telling true things that you're going to have to block me and censor me for. Imagine the thought, speaking truth on YouTube. Ugh. I won't do it, YouTube. Anyway, January 6th. Yeah. Ashley Babbitt. If I'm saying these things, Ukraine, rape accuser, inflation, if I'm saying these things and they're not ringing bells in your head, you may not be paying attention. You may be a TV watcher. I hope you're not, but you may be. Okay? Louis, good to see you. Liberalism equals the means justify the ends. Yeah, I think it's even sicker than that, Dan. I think it's sicker than liberalism. Liberalism is a term that had been hijacked. What is a liberal classically? A liberal is someone who believes that you ought to liberally give grace to everyone because we all have rights. We all have desires. We all have ways of acting and interacting. You do you. I'll do me. That person will do that person. That's a liberal in the classic sense. They overtook that. Why? Because they don't want the truth to be known. The truth is they are Marxists. They are socialists and communists and all that ists. They are all of that. Okay? And they don't want anybody to really know that, so they hide behind the term liberal. But they're not liberal at all. Unless they're liberal about enslaving people or, banning and censoring. Then they're very liberal, so to speak. So check it out on Zero Hedge if you want to. Top 10 moments from Trump's CNN town hall. And then this is the subtitle. AOC and Jake Tapper livid. Now, if you piss people off like AOC and Jake Tapper, you're over the target and you're doing something good. Fire for effect. Okay? This AOC character and Jake Tapper is what a geek. Anyway, these people are exactly the kind of people you want angry at you. When they're angry at you, you're doing something right. You're doing something well, and you are articulating the truth at a level that even they can understand. And that's what's scary to them. So just remember, if they're mad at you, if they're commenting at someone, you might want to pay attention to what the original subject matter was. Because if they're angry, it's got to be a good thing. Here's another one. Zero Hedge. DHS produces videos teaching citizens how to identify radicalized conservatives. Ladies and gents, there is a saying out there. I didn't invent it. I wish I did, but I didn't. There's a saying out there that goes something like this. If you are a true patriot and you're not on some kind of watch list by now, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. That's what the saying says, and there's a lot of truth in that. Why do I think there's truth in that? Well, for this very reason. DHS producing videos teaching citizens how to identify radicalized conservatives. What is a radicalized conservative? Well, they'll never tell you this, but a radicalized conservative is anyone that doesn't believe their Marxist tropes. Is all this beginning to come together? I'm sure it is. So, America First Legal has obtained documents through FOIA from the Department of Homeland Security, which outlined a choose-your-own-adventure style video series that DHS intended to release to the public. The videos were meant to depict different scenarios in which citizens might encounter potentially radicalized individuals. Citizens are then asked to choose what they think should be done about the encounter. Most of the scripted scenarios showcase people with conservative beliefs and values as the radicalized threat. For example, the DHS targeted suburban moms with pro-life beliefs. Could you imagine that? The nerve of people to live in the suburbs, be mothers, and hold pro-life beliefs. That's so radical, Joe. That is radical. Mike, good to see you. How could people be so radically conservative that they would first of all be mothers? And I didn't see pronouns. They live in the suburbs. That's halfway off the reservation right there. And they're pro-life. They want more babies to live. That right there is radical. And in their viewpoint, you better believe it. Okay? When people tell you they're communists and they call themselves liberals, they call themselves whatever, Democrats or Republicans, but they act like a communist, and all of their actions would be those of a communist, you better believe they're communists. Commies gonna commie. That's just what they do. Watch what they do. Yes, watch what they do. Judge them by their fruits, says the Bible. They'll say many things, but the fact is they're gonna do more. And when you see what they do, you're gonna know them for what they are. So, the COVID era brought the U.S., and this is the important part. One of the things of this article that I'm going on more about this article than many others. I want you to understand, everyone to understand, and I'm not trying to say that you won't understand. I'm just trying to interpret what these people put out in public to publicize. The COVID era brought the U.S. and many other Western. This is from America First Legal via Zero Hedge. The COVID era brought the U.S. and many other Western nations to the very edge of an Orwellian society in which partnerships between corporate institutions and government bureaucracy are exploited to suppress all political and scientific discourse. Ladies and gentlemen, that paragraph is all important. Why? Because the corporatocracy is what is ruling right now. In that very fair, very honest 2020 election, very fair and very honest, there was no fraud whatsoever, YouTube, right? No fraud in 2020 elections. None. The resident made it into the White House. The people that own him, because you can't think that anybody who can't even control his bowels can control, foreign policy, the nuclear football, all these important things that you have to do as a president, while he's too busy, emptying out his adult diapers. So, he's not doing any of that. There are many people plotting behind him, using him as their mouthpiece. So, when you see these things occurring, you might wonder, how did this happen? Well, it happened, and this is the all-important term here, partnerships between corporate institutions and government bureaucracy. What kind of partnerships are you talking about, Otter? Well, here's one that comes to mind. The partnership between Pfizer and the CDC. Ooh. What do you think about that one? You think there might have been some collusion there? You think there might have been some conflict of interest? I think there were. I think there was many instances of that. You know, that's just one example. Okay? So, I mean, BlackRock, good one. Corporatocracy. Dan says communism aims to deconstruct the nuclear family to be replaced with the government. Yes, the state. That hag Hillary wrote a book on it. It takes a village. So she says that it takes a village to raise a child. Are you kidding me? And then this resident said there's no such thing as someone else's child. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. If you have a child, it's not my child, it's someone else's child. I have no place making decisions for your children, as you have no place making decisions for mine. So yes, there are someone else's children. We have to respect the parents of children and their authority over those children. God-given authority. But of course, Marxists don't believe in God. A little known fact, Karl Marx dedicated his books to this guy named Lucifer. If you've ever read the Bible, you know this guy named Lucifer is also known as Satan. That's where Marxism comes from, ultimately. And we are, ladies and gentlemen, in a spiritual war. And why is that a good thing? Because God wins. God wins in the end. That's the fact. The script has been written, ladies and gentlemen. We don't get the footnotes. We don't get dates. We don't get, we don't get all that stuff. But we are honored. I feel honored to be in this time. Say what you will about our times, but they're not boring. No, sir, no, ma'am. They are not boring. As we're coming up, we're past the halfway point of the show. But that being said, we're going to do a little recap. Joe taught me this. It's things pros do. So, we went with the gold price, the silver price, which is respectively $2,025 and $24.43. Bitcoin's at 27,000. Crypto exchange is going to go bankrupt, Bittrex. White House is going to mine or tax Bitcoin mining. DHS is telling us that, well, if you're a suburban mom, you might be a radicalized conservative. Wow. How threatening. CNN invoked the mercy rule, and since President Trump was just beating up, I mean, not literally beating up, of course, they'll probably call it that and sue him. But he was, ladies and gents, if you get a chance to see that video, she was just getting pummeled. She was like the first part of the Rocky fight, right, with Ivan Drago. And Ivan Drago's fists were logic coming from Trump. So that's to give you a visual of what the beating was. This woman, she just didn't understand it. Again, it doesn't matter because she's still going to get good grades for the interview because the Marxists are going to say, wow, she withstood the blows of logic. She turned them and she stood with the lie. Just like standing with Ukraine. Stand with the lie. And just funnel billions of dollars into it. Yeah, $1.2 billion more is going to Ukraine. So, yeah, Dan's getting worked up here as I am. It's absolutely true. The nuclear family is a staple, a pillar of society, of any productive, good, well-rounded society. You need families. It is a basic unit of society. And God so structured it that it would be constituted of a man, a woman, and however many children they have decided to have and can support. Do people break God's rules? Of course. Of course. What I'm saying is God's way is the best way. If you want a healthy society, this is how you structure it, on basic building blocks And the most basic building block of society is the unit called the nuclear family. Okay? The nuclear family can be stacked in what's called a neighborhood. A neighborhood can come together in a village. A village can come together in a town, a city, a state, a country, etc., etc. Now, for separation of powers, God ordered that we be in nations. Okay? This guy named Nimrod, well, aptly named Nimrod, wanted the first, well, in our age, post-flood, wanted, after God said, spread out all over the earth and, cultivate the earth, all that, Nimrod said, no, we're going to stick together. We're going to build this tower and we're going to bring back the giants from, yesteryear. The Tower of Babel. So God said, nah. They're going to be able to succeed in what they do, so I'm going to do something. We're going to do something. He struck them dumb with, I guess not dumb, but he struck them with different languages. So they at one time had one language, they could all communicate, get this tower built. God said, no, not going to happen. So he changed the language, and they then knew 70 different languages. Therefore, 70 different nations came out of those peoples, because when you can't speak the same language with another person, communication, there's a barrier. And then you look to this side and wow, there's somebody who's speaking my language. It kind of brings people together. Not knowing the language separates people. God's way of saying, spread out in this earth, be stewards of it, take care of it, and grow. Which also, much like Bitcoin, hey, you knew I was going to throw that in there, right, Joe? Much like Bitcoin, God wanted a decentralized world. The only centralized power God wants in the world is his. Because he's the only good person in the world. Is this coming together? God is the only true, holy person in the universe. He is the source of good. He doesn't want evil to impose on our lives, but we impose it on ourselves. And other people impose it on us and our families. Why? Because we, as human beings, break his rules. Some of us more than others, but we all do, in one way or another. But we have experts in evil. And most of them are in government. Some are in Hollywood. A lot are in Hollywood. The music industry. Okay? You succeed in those industries by exuding more evil than the next guy. Hence this Collins woman who lies, even though she knows it's a lie, and this April woman, she knows it's a lie, but they keep going. They keep going because they know that their future employers are going to be looking at their performance. Because it's not truth that counts with them. It's the agenda and how it's packaged, how it's presented. But she was getting her ass kicked. She was just getting whopped. That woman was just pummeled. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't come out with a concussion or something. I don't know. So, yes, thank you, Dan. Thank you. I digressed prior to the best part of the message, which was that while we all mess up, while we all have evil in our hearts, God can save us from ourselves, from the sin that we have and we're born with. God can save us. He sent down his son, Jesus Christ, as a bridge, a way to heaven. For there is no other way. There's no other name under which, and yeah, we could say Jesus if you want. A lot of different, Yeshua, we could say his name in many different languages, but it's the same name. It's the same person, the Son of God, the Lord of Lords and King of Kings. He is it for us. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. I'm not trying to foist any of this on you. I can answer any question you would like. Not any question, but I'll give me a shot at answering questions. If you want to email me, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, or the Otter phone, 737-256-9339. Give me a call, okay? Text me, please. So, all this to say that God wins. The script is written. Fear not. Be prepared, sure. Buy some food, extra water, ammo, Why not? Got money? Land. You got fiat money? Maybe land. I'm not a financial advisor, but maybe buy a piece of land. It won't go to zero. Gold? It won't go to zero. Silver won't go to zero. And in my opinion, and many people differ from this, but it's my opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor, that Bitcoin, it's only going up. Yeah, it'll go down here, go down there. But man, I'm telling you, I believe, as a non-financial advisor, that it's got a lot of potential. So do billionaires. I don't have a lot in common with billionaires, though. Anyway, they believe in it, especially Michael Saylor, Saylor. Look that guy up. Micro Strategies is the name of his corporation. Anyway, I want to thank everybody. Ernie, good to see ya. I want to thank everybody. Dan, Rosselli, Chuck, Ernie, Renee, Jessica. Didn't see you there, Jessica. Louie, Mike, Jaime. Thanks for watching. And for all of you who are watching after this goes off the air, I want to thank you. And when I say that I'm open to interaction, many of the Facebook friends I have actually see me in regular life, and I'm honored to talk to them. But some of you I don't see every day. So please contact me if you'd like. bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. The Otter phone, 737-256-9339. The website is connected to these things too, bitcoinotter.com. So my business basically, and a lot of people say I don't plug my business enough, so here it is. I help people buy Bitcoin safely and securely. And I won't tell you to buy it. I'll just help you do it. I don't want to know how much money you have. It doesn't matter. I charge a little bit, yeah. But it's a little bit. No, not much. And you'll get it in your wallet safely. And I'll teach you about it. That's simply what I do. Because I want you to have an off-ramp to what's coming in the fiat currency. That's all. Simple as that. So I want to ask God through his son Jesus to bless all of you. To bless you. To be a guiding light to your feet as we walk through these dark times. And I ask that for us too. All of us. We're going to go through some darker times pretty soon, but we're coming out of it, ladies and gents. I truly believe President Trump, when he says the freedom that is upcoming if we just hang on a little longer is literally unprecedented in our time. It's coming, ladies and gents. We just got to go through a little more rough road. But with God, anything can be done. So, I want to leave you on that happy note. Again, I'll try to answer any questions you have, be it crypto, be it political, be it especially, your spiritual well-being. I want to help you on that road to where it is I came to in 1996, I think it was. So, I'd love to help you with anything you might see me useful for. Whatever. I'm open. That's why I'm here. Literally, why I'm here. Why this show started was because I want to help people. So, there's that. I want to thank you for watching. Everybody who didn't get to watch live, awesome. That's fine. Any comments, just add them. I can address them later. Have a great Thursday, a great week. Lord willing, we will meet again next Thursday on the Bitcoin Otter Show. Take it easy.
Let's go! This is the Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much!
On 97.7 FM, The City.